Let's give it like show
some bottled water right now. Alright. We'll give Anthony a second to get over here. Oh, Gunter, you want to be in the, you want to be in the picture. Come here. Oh, you want to go. Oh, you're such a good boy. Come here, buddy. Come here. All right. Everybody's happy now. Isn't that right, Gunter? Okay, so here we are. We're going to be testing some new products, some healthy, good for you stuff. Let's remember to keep our voices raised because the microphone is, you know, kind of far away over there. This is what you should not be drinking right here. Coca-Cola. That'll be the last drink right here I'll ever take a Coke. No, just kidding. Anyway, it's time to welcome everyone to another exciting episode of Bases, Texas. Yeah. We ordered this pitcher here that we're going to show you. We're going to open the product in front of you and we're going to try it for the first time. We did not disguise the name of the product, but we're not going to say it. We're going to test the product and for several weeks and then, you know, get back with you on the results and let you know if we think that it's worth it. And so it's time to unbox the product, which means Gunther, you probably need to get down here, buddy. Oh, you did a good boy. So I don't know how dramatic this. Oh no, Gunther, don't do that. I don't know if I have to. Anyway, oh Gunther. So here's what we got right here. That is the pitcher. And here is and the pitcher has a filter, you know, in it, and now we've got the backup filters. So supposedly, you know, each one of these boxes here should last, I don't know, altogether I think it should last about 6 months, supposedly. So let's get down to business. You know, you could probably maybe zoom in on the screen or something like that and see what the name of the product is. We're not like going for such extreme, you know, lengths to hide it, but like I said, we're not going to say the name of the product just yet. We're going to try it out and see if it works. There's a lot of interesting claims on this. I was watching an infomercial and basically it showed a bunch of different water products that came in bottles and the different pitchers, like the Brita pitcher and stuff like that, that's supposed to, you know, purify your water and in some cases alkalyze your water. When you have the pH meter, pH numbers go from 0 to 14. The higher you go up on the scale, the more alkaline it is. The lower you go down the scale, the more acidic it is. For instance, a number 2 would be like battery acid. And then, you know, number 12 or something like that would be like lye. You know, that they make, you know, lye soap out of, or what they have out there on oil rigs.
I'm like a kid on Christmas.
I know it.
So, my name's Anthony, by the way. Been working with King here for a minute, getting to know the guy.
Anthony's a contractor here, and then he's also one of our models of Ayin Modeling. And man, we had a great photo shoot. A talented young lady just a couple days ago, and get on over there to Ayin Modeling and check it out. I mean, this lady is very talented, and we are using the same photographer we used in the past. We've under contract. We cannot tell you her name because of certain things that have been going on certain Facebook pages. Anyways, it's all a big story. It's a boring story.
Right.
So let's check it out. See what we got. Da-da-da. Drum roll, please. Oh, wow, cool. Okay, so the thing comes out, it's got this nice like nylon bag, I guess. And you put, oh, it looks pretty green. Green, it looks like green, and then clear acrylic plastic.
It's green.
Pretty nice looking, really. You know, I mean, for the amount of, it costs a lot of money. Okay, let me put it like that. But this stuff is supposed to save your life.
Awesome.
It's supposed to really, it looks cool. Let's see, you've already got one open, so let's put this one back in the box. And then I saw somewhere online, some people have some problems, you know, installing this filter, but I mean, it looks pretty straightforward to me. You know. I guess just drop it in there, right? I mean,
a little opinion that I have about water is that it's always good to not drink dirty water, obviously, but I do a lot of energy work. I feel the energy of things, you know. So when I felt this, it felt like good. Like I buy carbon shower head filters from like Home Depot, and they're a little bit expensive, but you can feel the energy of it. It's like the carbon is that they actually use, as opposed to some of these kind of knockoff things. You know, there's so many. I've watched YouTube videos of people with those. You know, ionizing water bottles or electric, and it doesn't do it correctly and all this. So when you're looking at something that's simply just a type of physical, like, you know, analog device, that's no...
Right, there doesn't seem to be anything mechanical in there, no.
It's simply, actually I'm curious what the actual...
Yeah, I mean, it's got like 3 stages or something like that.
So mineral spheres add healthy minerals such as potassium, sodium, and magnesium. Magnesium raises the pH of the water and produces molecular hydrogen. I can dig that. Magnesium. Yeah, magnesium is good. It relaxes you, and because it's alkaline, which beer is not, by the way, kiddos. Beer is very acidic.
Well, beer doesn't hold a candle to this poisonous stuff right here. We're doing this as an anti-demonstration.
Yeah, we're X-Men. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, exactly. Don't drink that shit.
Far infrared spheres gives water a smooth, silky texture that is easy to swallow. So they have like a little orangish red sphere, and it says far infrared spheres.
I can even see the lasers are shining off that. Oh.
It's cool. Yeah, we got some cool lights.
Yeah.
Man. We're just chilling. It's feeling really good. So this is like the way that us boys in Texas are like slowly raising the vibes of our lives, and it's one step at a time. Ayin's been working out. I've been filming him just to show people that look, we're really trying. You know, we're not just talk. When Ayin told me that, I got what he meant. You know, we want to be better, but we're not afraid to get dirty. You know what I'm saying? And that's why me and Ayin get along, and that's why we fucks with this. Excuse my language. Yeah. We fucks with this because it's coming along. So ionization resin granules. I don't know what the hell that is. Softens the water.
What I like is this thing. It says, the magnesium raises the pH of the water and produces molecular hydrogen.
Yeah.
What, you know, the deal that I saw in the infomercial, it was saying, it showed all these different products like a Brita, you know, water filter and different stuff that comes in plastic bottles, water. The deal is, their idea is that the water you've been drinking your whole life is dead water. You've just, you know, and that's what's making everybody get old and sick and all this stuff. When you think about it, all the water you've drinking your whole life has been come through miles of pipes, old rusted pipes, or even just PVC pipes, or if it came from the, you know, a French spring that was just so great, but then it's sitting in a bottle for months.
Speaking of which,
plastic bottle.
Some of the younger generation of my family, they were drinking water bottles a lot, and I started doing research on how much fluoride is in this and how much heavy metals are still found in water bottles, not to mention the plastics, which leach into your gums and into your cells and everything, and it really damages the teeth. And it was crazy to watch such a young kid and his teeth just start disintegrating like chalk.
From drinking
just water bottles all the time, like sucking on like a bottle, you know, just like a baby bottle.
Man.
Always water. But it was like, I mean, they were eating organic, but it was like, why? Well, they were like, oh, it's genetics, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it's stress and a lot of different things. You know, kids nowadays are under a lot of stress with computers and electronics and the 5G.
They've got those microwave, you know, cellular phones up to their head all the time.
They're always on the iPad. But this is a step in the right direction because not only the idea is, the intention is like positive, but it's also, like I said, you read the facts. He did a lot of research. Maybe speak about a little bit of the research.
Well, that's right. That's one we're fixing to get to. That's the little dots there. That's the oxidation reduction potential spheres. Okay, tourmaline spheres reduce oxidation potential of the water.
That's what you were telling me about.
And and so you know, tourmaline. That's like you go into a gem, a rock stop. That's one of your, I guess, minerals. Gems are minerals. It's kind of, I think it's a green one, isn't it?
Tourmaline?
Yeah.
I can't remember what color it is. I thought it was either green or red. I thought it kind of tourmaline. I thought looked like kind of like tiger's eye. Maybe totally wrong look.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, let's look that up. But tourmaline is definitely something that you see in your you know, your gem shops, like the ones they have here in Austin. So here, the idea is this, that, you know, everyone's trying to get alkalized water, you know, versus acidic water, yada yada, you know, this and that. But what you never hear them talking about is the oxidization damage, and that's a scientific term that they use. It's a cellular damage, the oxidization damage to your cells. And this is just like, imagine the, you know, that your headlights, the plastic covers around your headlights get oxidized, and that's why they sell that stuff where, you know, you put it on there and it cleans them up and stuff. Well, your entire body is getting oxidized almost all the time.
Tourmaline.
Oh wow, it's like a rainbow.
Yeah. Let me show this to the camera real quick because this is awesome. I don't know if you can focus in on here. So we did a quick Google search. Maybe it'll focus. Oh, I can focus manually.
Put it still on there.
How you let me know? Bam, cousin. So that's just a quick what tourmaline looks like. Awesome. It's in focus. Anyways, he was saying rainbow colors because tis rainbow colors.
Right. And I was hearing something the other day.
Nature is what my point was.
You know, they was talking about some, you know, tribal people or something like that. And there's aspects to water and conditions of water that Western science doesn't even recognize.
Nope.
You know, like, not necessarily aged water, but like this is some type of Oriental.
And mainstream is just now like learning about it.
Yeah,
it's been around forever, like you're saying, Oriental and all this.
Right, you know, and so there's.
Oh, I was reading about this one guy who he figured out how to what was it? It was all about water. It was how you can in the logging in Russia, they were logging, and he learned how to float logs all the way down the river, and he could control the speed of the river and stuff based on. You wouldn't need to build up the river or make it smaller or bigger. He would just place big boulders at certain key points in the river, and it would create a certain vortex and all this.
That's amazing.
And it would speed up or slow down. And they were also going into how the shape actually affected the temperature of the water. And it's weird.
Well, that's
stuff.
a lot like the
Bernoulli
effect. Yeah. You know, like in an aspirator on like either a carburetor or like a little perfume bottle. You know, that you squeeze a little deal and that the perfume goes through there. It's because the air pressure is when the air moves faster, the air pressure is actually lower, and so it sucks in the perfume to send it out there. Right. Or same thing like with a carburetor. Yeah. You know, on an old car. So. There's a lot of stuff with pressure.
And you know, it's funny because I've been using like a spray bottle for like rose water on my face and peppermint oil, like a spray bottle for peppermint. And it's not hot. Peppermint oil isn't hot. It's actually very cooling. I guess I'll have some on my hands. But when you spray stuff, it's interesting because what you're doing is you're creating these tiny little water droplets that hit your skin, and then it goes through an evaporation process through the heat, and it cools your body. But it's also giving you the oils on your. You should think about that maybe because I love the way it feels.
Essential oils.
Essential oils.
Oh yeah.
Rose water is great. It's just like cooling and it smells like neutral, but like floral.
Well, I guess let's try this water. Oh shit! I heard it tastes a little bit like supposedly like crispy or something like that.
So we're not super uber duper scientists, you know, we don't have control groups or anything, but this is an unboxing, you know, this is just to showcase and talk about a lot of different things. By the way, my name is Tony, and this is Ayin.
Yeah. Alright, well that's a couple big old deals of water right there.
Cool, right?
Let's check it out.
See?
Ooh. Tastes alright.
I think it's because it mixed also with the old water. That was.
Well, there was just very little in there, but I mean, you know, and I don't think you're supposed to expect, you know, results just like right off the bat.
This is good though, because like we can talk a lot about a lot of different things based on our feelings. You know, like it still kind of tasted chlorine-y, but I'm wondering if that's because I was just drinking beer. Like, so is my palate not clean, or you know, is this thing not work? Or you know, you always gotta stay open-minded. You know.
Right.
Don't be afraid to be wrong. You know, always experiment. You know, I think Ayin likes to experiment a lot. He's a scientist, I believe.
Well, I've got an associate's degree of applied science, so I guess I'm not a scientist, but I'm an associate of sciences.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to be an associate of science.
Associate of science.
I am.
Oh, hopefully. I tell you what, we got a new science right here. We're going on the science of the spirit. That's what Rudolf Steiner called his science. He called it spiritual science, you know.
Nice.
And he was a Christian mystic, you know. I don't know. He's the guy who created the Waldorf school system.
Yeah.
And he also created a type of sacred dance that he called eurythmy. And that's where the band the Eurythmics got their name from.
Really?
Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart.
What was it? What was so special about the dance?
Well, it turns out that a lot of these mystics, like I can't remember the guy who's with the Tsar's family, but now there's another guy, Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff was somebody who was sought after during World War II by Hitler and by Stalin. They both wanted him. In other words, there's the idea that there's these mystics that are like super powerful and shit, and they can do all kinds of, you know, psychic stuff. And there was a guy that was in Germany, and the Nazis got a hold of him. You know, Franz something. But anyway, you know, so there's these people that have this mystical side, or they can have sight into super sensible worlds, usually from all the time when they're a child. And Rudolf Steiner had this. Now somebody we see that's like that in the world today is Tim Refat.
Keep on talking about him. What's so special about this guy?
Who, Tim Refat? Well, he's somebody who's has a born psychic power, and so the intelligence agencies were using him to in their different experiments and stuff. You know, there's some people that for some reason they can like talk. Even when they're kids and stuff, they're talking to spirits and shit like that. And apparently, he was one of those. But he harkened it back to the idea of Sir John Dee and Edward Kelly, you know, who were for the Queen, the original 007, who, you know, were doing that Enochian magic and scrying spirits and stuff.
Was it because this was like a generational thing that was recurring, or was it because the Queen was bored and she just wanted some magic?
Oh, well, no, it usually has to do with court intrigue and stuff like that. And what we're learning is that the connection between spycraft and black magic is a very old connection. They're almost one and the same. So, you know, the reality, we get these ideas on TV of what the CIA does and stuff like that. You got these young sexy agents and they're doing all this stuff, you know, learning how to shoot guns and everything like that. And that's true. But a large portion of them are also donning black robes and engaged in very dark and sinister rituals.
Yeah, it's like who furthers this stuff? I you know, no hatred. I ain't got no enemies, but I'd like to meet some of these guys. You know, if they're, I wish they had the balls to like just reach out to us and not kill us at the same time. Just like they're so scared.
I think it's very compartmentalized, and a lot of them, they have ways of making people think that they're doing good, even though they're doing evil.
I think it's a bit of like, I mean, some people say it's like demonic manipulate. They don't even know what they're doing. You know what I mean? At some level, they just like, because I see in human interaction, like daily life, like people are so like in their own thing.
They're
then
so focused on
Can you
stupid
imagine
shit.
on their levels with millions and trillions of dollars and like the creepy ability to like do anything they want and like
Yeah,
I mean,
but I think they're also the victims of their own deal. In other words, it's not a very liberating thing to probably be one of these agents because they're always spying on you too.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the idea of there being some big catastrophe and the elite going underground, to live underground while we suffer on the surface area. That can't be very much fun being underground, and they're probably all chipped and everything like that.
It's advanced and it's kind of you feel like advanced and all this. But I can imagine some of the guys that are being down there. You know, I've heard the stories and the interviews of some of the people that have been down there, and it doesn't sound like fun. And it reminds me of like when you're in detention in school, and you look at the teacher and you're just like, how are they happy like holding everybody here like little
I know,
baby slaves.
And underground. I mean, you think you get claustrophobic, down there.
That's why I want to know, because I really want to know like. Like
I mean, how bad you want to know? I wouldn't suggest going to Dulce, and going and messing around there.
I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about stripping down completely naked, so they say I don't have any weapons or nothing, and just seeing if I can get in without getting shot.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. I think it might be easier to get in than it is to get out.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you want to get in?
You want to be experimented on, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And
they're like, we have a cage for you.
Yeah. Well, Duncan Davis, the gridkeeper, Tim Rifat's homeboy, they've had him, in some underground bases and shit like that, and supposedly James Casbolt and everything.
Well, my stepdad, supposedly in El Paso, he's been in the military all his life, and he says he can't even take his cell phone into the underground base that he goes into, and God knows.
What does he go into an underground base for? Oh, it's just top secret.
I don't know, and then my mom is like, he doesn't do any, stop patronizing or stop criticizing him or whatever, because all he does is like help like wounded, soldiers like figure out like what their next step is or how to heal, and like it was very vague and like very
so why do you got to go underground to do that?
Yeah, it was very angry and like vague, and I was like, I wanted to talk about it, but it was like, no, I'm angry at you, so now we're not talking about it. And I'm like, well, I wanted to know, like, with all these fires in California, I was reaching out to my stepfather, who I've known since I was literally 5 years old, asking him, my elder, I'm like, Elder, I'm serious, I have concerns. You're a part of the anti-terrorism division, I have a question. There seems to be some terrorism going on in California. That's our country, and I once I grew up and learned that soldiers take an oath to protect the country from enemies, both foreign and domestic. That means outside and inside threats, and like a good democracy supposedly is supposed to work. And he came back at me with that joke I showed you. He joked about being in the Death Star and being the one controlling the lasers burning all the Californian homes and stuff, and I was like, it's not that funny,
Yeah, and I mean, yeah.
I was like, I wanted to talk to my elder about like, Father, you're in the military, you're the force against the, and people are saying they're making really, really, really harsh claims backed with hard evidence that something is awry,
In the military.
Something is strange afoot, and they're linking it to the corporations, which are then linked to the government and the military. So it's like everybody's kind of like handshaking, but nobody's like, they're not all in a group like, brick, but it's all like one after the other. It's like a chain.
Yeah,
it's like a chain.
Everybody just looks the other way. You're doing your dirt, and you just look the other way while everybody else does their dirt. It's just.
Yeah, and then they lock up other people for freaking doing drugs, and that's not even hurting anybody but yourself, and then they make money off of that, and then they go fund their dark.
And they're the ones bringing in all the dope in.
Yeah,
too,
so if they would allow the technology to be released and stopped spending it on dominating, warfare machines, and they would release the good things, people wouldn't need to kill each other. People wouldn't need to, this would only be for cutting wood, brother. But I think we're doing something else out here.
Red light.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. All right, and so what the deal is with H2O, that means water, the molecule is 2 oxygen atoms and 1 hydrogen atom. Well, apparently, under whatever circumstances or whatever, these oxygen atoms are borrowing, so to speak, electrons from the hydrogen atom, therefore making it to where it wants to oxidize. And there's a thing called an ORP meter, ORP, and I don't know exactly what that means, but it's an electronic device. And this can measure whether something is being oxidized or not. And then on the infomercial, and we're going to get an ORP meter, and we're going to have one right here to show you, but we don't have one tonight. But if you get positive readings on the ORP meter, which are getting like positive 100 and 200 and everything like this on all these different waters, then that means it's being oxidized. So if it's being oxidized, it's oxidizing you. If it had negative numbers, that means it's being the opposite of it's being non-oxidized. And they ran, their water through this still, and it was showing a negative 200 or whatever. So that's the whole idea, is that death and disease and growing old and saggy skin and all that different stuff is because of oxidization. All right, so
I envision a world where we live really, really long time, and everybody's a decent dude, and everybody can share and possibly overcome the need for money. But right now, with the way things are, we can't even stop our government from poisoning us, and our corporations from genociding us.
And why do they even want to do that? I mean, it's ridiculous. It gets, as you know, it gets into a lot of subjects, and there's a lot of us are on the same page about some of the stuff, and then some other issues where you may be hotly debated. Mm-hmm. But what about the idea that, okay, sure, we know that we're getting poisoned everywhere we turn and everything like this, but what about this idea that that's really just a distraction? They want you to know about these poisonings because they don't want you to know about this. In other words, it's okay, it's really not the poison that's hurting you, it's the dead water.
And this is just scratching the surface. This is one thing. There's tons of other ways of achieving purity through filtration, and you can do it. You can do it. I was watching 2 brothers build by hand like a cob square structure that holds rainwater, and then it filters with. They lay burnt wood and charcoal first. And then they pour, rocks on top of that, and then sand on top of that, I think, or is a certain stack, and it filters out first the heavy sediment, and then it filters out the dirt, and then it filters out through the carbon, it filters out the fine microns. Now that's something you'd want to do if you're in the rainforest and you're Ramboing it,
Yeah.
or totally living off grid.
Yeah, and you could get bacteria.
And you have nothing. Yeah, but. I believe that there are advanced methods of filtration, and I think that they've been hidden from us for millions of years. Start talking about the pyramids and stuff. What kind of things did they know about in terms of pure sources of food and drink?
Right. Well, there's characters in the Bible like Methuselah and stuff like that lived to be 800-900 years old. Mm-hmm. What the hell they weren't eating Wendy's or Dairy Queen or anything like that. That's for sure.
So this stuff has been forced on us. This stuff is this. Me and Ayin didn't make this stuff, and we know that it's poison. And I believe that the human consciousness. This is another thing I wanted to bring up with you. All right. Human consciousness is stronger. They always say mind over matter, right? So you can know, and it can have an effect. But if you're a negative person, you are going to cause more disease and have more disease.
Absolutely. And just the idea of, we know that there's these poisons, we're talking about these. Well, if you go around thinking you're eating poison all the time, I mean, there's the idea that you can bless, you can even have food that wasn't that great and you can bless it before you consume it, and that'll somehow make it better. I believe that.
Yeah.
We're
talking about psychic warfare and stuff, and that's all your imagination, killing somebody with your mind.
Right.
But you can't even bless water because you're so mentally weak.
Right. So the power of the mind is, we don't know what the limits of that are, and it may be limitless.
We're still finding new discoveries, you know, about.
So where did we get this water? Is this just like regular water?
So we got we got bottled water, and then we got some tap water.
Okay, well, I mean, let's
right out of the sink in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so let's try this stuff, and I think this is probably pretty much what we're gonna do.
Yep, go fast.
Oh shit!
Fast.
Okay, well, I went through there pretty quick. Let's see if I can do a little bit better on this one. Pour it through there real quick. Yeah, there we go. That one went a little bit better. All right. Oh. I don't think we can pour all of it, you know, because we don't want it to go past up there, right? Or
I don't know.
I'll just pour some of it.
See what happens.
Yeah, just a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's about up to the top.
I think it can go all the way up to here.
Well, well, I don't think so because it would start. Oh, but yeah, it's coming from down there. Yeah, but you don't want it to. Right. In other words, if you put this deal on here and you hold it on, you know, that none of the stuff that's in the top will come out.
No, by the way, this is just a friendly reminder. This is a company that, you know, obviously put a lot of you know, research and development, but there's other things out there. There's also the shape of the container affects the water. You know, we also are learning that light and sound can affect. You know,
oh yeah, there's that Japanese scientist.
Yeah, the shape of a seashell can actually purify water too. Like
I didn't know that.
You run water over certain shapes, and if it's geometric nature shapes, then it also enhances the water and energizes it. Like it's almost like okay, so Nikola Tesla talked a lot about 0-point energy, or pulling energy out of the air, because you're hitting a certain frequency. It's like the 0 point. It's like boom, and then it's like sucks into this little hole, and then you can output it to something. And that's like kind of free energy.
Will you check and make sure that the red light's on?
Yeah. One thing.
And turn it off and then turn it back on. Now, you know.
Okay, cool.
That way we'll have another 12.